All right, I'm Scotty. This is Braden.
I'm Will.
I'm Tyson.
Today we're gonna talk and debate about foreign policy.
So we're on the side of explaining why why foreign policy is not as flexible anymore. And so basically, foreign policy isn't flexible because it's constrained by a complex interplay of factors. So some geopolitical commitments, long-term alliances, and economic interdependencies create constraints, which is limiting immediate adjustments.
I would argue that our diplomatic engagement as a whole, as the United States, has actually increased. There's been more of it, such as our participation in multilateral organizations like the United Nations or NATO, regional alliances. Basically showcasing the efforts to negotiate on a wide array of matters. So a bunch of different things are being talked about. It just may not be the exact way we want it to be. But It is being done. I think the foreign policy is more flexible.
Yeah, and I think that, like he said at the very end, the United States is making a good effort to be more collaborative, and the United States as a country isn't very exclusive. They include just about everyone else. Very accepting as a country.
I'd have to say that I disagree with that. I feel like the United States is slowly starting to close itself off, especially to foreigners and situations that are related to that. The intricate web of global relationships, often rooted in history and strategy, serves as an anchor. Moreover, economic interdependence adds stability but can impede flexibility due to the potential impact on international markets. Domestically, changes in the leadership, public opinion, and national interests contribute to the dynamic nature of foreign policy.
Yeah, I think you have a point. There are definitely some strains on certain relationships, but I feel like as a country there are still a lot of important relations that we do have. And there are some that I think that, obviously not my decision, but the country should keep some relationships important because we need it.
They are important.
Yeah,
I think important ties.
I think to your point earlier, the U.S. isn't necessarily closing itself off to foreigners, but more so, trying to make a legal shift. Make things happen the correct way through the law. The difference is when things happen unlawfully, then that creates chaos in our society and
makes people
everything
feel
else.
like it's okay, and it just creates a pattern,
Yeah,
a snowball effect. Do things under the table, illegally, that can create problems. Furthermore, not just coming over here by yourself, coming over here with illegal contraband and things
Exactly.
that play that part.
But I think there's also been policy adjustments that America has made, to help increase their foreign policy. The Obama administration's pivot to Asia, and the Trump administration's emphasis on renegotiating trade and prioritizing American interests. I think that was a big push towards, helping foreign policy rather than trying to close it off from other nations.
I gotta say, I agree with what he said.
I think that's about it, yeah. That's about it. The modern world's rapid changes, including cybersecurity threats and climate change, add another layer of complexity. Navigating these challenges requires adept statesmanship and diplomatic finesse to balance adaptation and the preservation of long-term strategic goals. So it's basically saying that although we are struggling to keep our borders in check and keep what's going on in the world at bay, that we're still struggling to basically stop the contraband, like TJ said, from coming in.
It's natural,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think crisis management is very a real thing. There have been a lot of crises in some recent wars that we have dealt with, but and a lot of unforeseen events. But I think that we've done a good job addressing a crises to humanity or to other countries that want to press that big red button.
Yeah.
But and because it's just it's a very like fine, thin line of how these things work. But I think America's done a good job of keeping us safe or doing the right thing for the people, because it's hard to just maintain relationships like that with
Hard
other
to do.
countries, because everyone has different values and things like that.
I think to that point, even though everyone has a lot of different like opinions about the matters, I think it is a good point to say that America has made an effort to continue the alliances. While there's going to be their terms versus other people's terms, there is still an agreement trying to be made, which I think indicates an effort on America's side, and that would mean that foreign policy is still in effect today, and it hasn't lost all its flexibility, at least not yet.